Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here in the Fuzzy Biker Garage. There goes a big old truck. It is a beautiful Monday morning. The sun's shining. It's going to be about 61 degrees today. That is my Royal Enfield Bear 650 249 model. I'm going to take that hot rod out for a ride today. I'm going to try to put about 100 miles on it, but we're going to do some things to it before we do that. I did a video last week and I talked about how at 700, this bike's got a little over 700 miles on it. The suspension was still firm even on the lowest setting, but it was getting better and it was, you know, a little more compliant, a little better riding now. The handling has always been good. It still handles very well. I also showed a friend of mine's Bear, that he had put Nolan shocks on the rear, and he had just done that. I rode the bike about 6 miles. He had just rode it about 6 miles, so it was a little better riding. I don't know if the handling was any different, too short of a ride to test that. I am going to try to borrow that bike and put 100 miles on it. Now, in the meanwhile, I would like to do something with this one. After I get 1,000 miles, I'd like to put some YSS shocks on it. But for now, what I want to do is do an adjustment to the rear shocks. Because the idea is you shorten this up by adjusting your preload up, and the shock works itself, the internals of the shock work in a better range. You know, instead of being at the bottom range or the top of the range, you're working in the middle. So we're going to try that today. I'm going to get the old toolkit out and we will pop that up to, I think I'm not going to go all the way to the stiffest setting, but I'm going to go all the way to the stiffest -1. In order to do that, of course, all the tools you need are right here. Let's see if I can get this off. That is the toolkit. The toolkit on this bike is actually pretty darn good, as on all Royal Enfields. That is, if I can get into it. There we go. Hand loader on this one. Okay, I had to use 2 hands to get that out, but this is what we should need here. I think that's it. Let's see, yep, that'll go in. Not sure how that works. Like that. That'll go in like that. Here's the handle for it. Like that. So we stick this in there like that. See down there, that little, right there is what you're looking at. I think we're almost there. Hey, that's 5. Let's go back one. Okay, that's 4. So I've got that side on 4. Let's see if this one is as easy. Tool works really well. It's 2. That's 3. And that's 4. Okay, I'm going to put this bike back together and we're going to go for a ride. Wahoo! Hey y'all, we put about 85 miles. My fuel light just came on. Put about 85 miles on this bike now with the shocks adjusted up high. Total mileage on the motorcycle is 801 miles, and I'm about, I suppose, 30 miles from home, 25, 30 miles. How's the ride? On this kind of road, the first 30 miles of road I rode, plus smooth road like this, it's absolutely better. It feels very connected. It seems not quite, you know, it doesn't bite as hard on the bumps on this kind of a road. So I was pretty happy about that. Again, in the first 25 to 30 miles, I would have told you it's a vast improvement. And for the average road it is, this is Prairie Rose State Park. Let's wander in there and see what we can see, by golly. So I decided to hit some rougher roads. And I knew where there's a whole mess of them, north of Harlan and over by Irwin, Iowa. Old wore-out pavement that's bumpy and full of all kinds of nonsense, you know. So I did that. And it beat me up pretty bad. It's much stiffer than before. I rode a lot with my, you put pressure on your foot pegs to help you absorb the bumps so you don't get the full blunt of the bump, you know. And the bike always handled well, no matter what the circumstances was. I always had good control of the motorcycle, so I'm not complaining about that. I'm saying the ride in those circumstances was not improved. If anything, it might even been harsher. When I hit the hardest bumps at speed, 60, 70 miles an hour, I would get the old flop in the back, whatever you want to call it. Isn't this pretty out here? I think this is like a 200-acre lake. Maybe it's a 400-acre lake. I can't remember. Really neat. There's a walking trail all the way around. It's about 6 miles of walking trail. But, they got that back road closed. Okay. Anyway, back to the bike. At 85.8 miles, how do I feel about it? I think I'm going to be adjusting it down, but I want to ride it. I want to get at least 100 on it. I might leave it like this for a day or two. Another ride, just, another 50 miles. How's that? Just so I can get the real real feel for it. But you know, things like this here, it's actually better, I think, on this smoother pavement. I think I'm happier with it. Let's hit a bump here, you know, not too bad at all. This is a pretty smooth road. Anyway, I've been having a lot of fun on it. You know, we had sunshine earlier, that kind of ran away. Now we got these low clouds. So some of the roads I found were pavement that had asphalt poured over it, and you could feel the expansion joints, you know. Some were just plain old wore out asphalt roads, you know, where they've been patched multiple times and things have been fixed, and you know, you're constantly hitting things that look like this. And on those roads, it really did me in. I want to go back here and see what this looks like. Haven't been back here in a while. Used to camp out here a lot. Used to kayak out here a lot. Used to walk out here a lot. So this idea that you jack the shocks up and everything gets better is partially true. It worked pretty well, like I said, on the interstate. It did a little bit of interstate, and it worked pretty well on the smoothest pavement, and it doesn't do too bad on this road right here. Did I feel ever that the wheel was out of contact with the ground? I think there was twice where I hit a big bump and I felt like the back tire, you know, went in the air a little bit. Hey, we got some geese here. Okay, guys, go ahead and cross. We are geese all over right now. It's been a fun ride. I've really enjoyed it. It wasn't painful or anything. It's just on the rough roads, it was not an improvement. So what am I going to do about it? Well, I've got 800 miles on the bike. I'm going to ride it another couple hundred miles in stock shock. I'm going to back the settings down one, I think. I'm going to ride it another 50 miles before I do that. And that'll put it right in the middle of the range. So we've had it in the bottom of the range. Right now we're almost to the top of the range. So I'll back it down one and see what kind of action I get out of it. I want to borrow that yellow Bear I rode the other day, the one that had the AEW pipe and cat delete kit and the Nolan shocks on the rear. I want to take that out for a 100-mile ride and see how that reacts. I know how, see back there, I just stood up for a bump instinctively. And then I think a set of YSS might be in the future for this bike. And the reason I say that, you know, I could live with it the way it is, and it would be fine. I could make it work. However, I have had YSS before. I put those on my super meter, and I know how much of an improvement they can be for a motorcycle like this. So I think I am going to go ahead and do that at some point. I just want to get some more miles on this one before that happens. Boy, this is just a nice little road, isn't it? Again, the handling is superb. It's been excellent all the way through. Hey, there's the road. I love this bike for this kind of riding. You know, it's just an excellent motorcycle. The Bear is a fabulous bike. Parallel twin, 650, about 47 horsepower, 41 or 2 foot-pounds of torque. I think that's 57 newton meters. Beautiful 6-speed transmission. This one now with 800 miles, the transmission and the engine just seem to work better and better and better, and they work together so well. Very symbiotic relationship between the two, you know. Absolutely a hoot to ride. This bike has excellent brakes. You know, the little longer wheelbase, this bike has a 2.5 inches more wheelbase than the standard Interceptor. The standard Interceptor is a beautiful machine. I am never going to knock that bike. But I think it gives it just a little more stability going down the highway at speed. This bike isn't quite as jittery as the standard Interceptor. Look at all this gravel on the road here. Look at this area down here. So this is tent camping. I don't see a flat spot anywhere for a tent, by golly. You roll right out of your roll right off your air mattress. Seat height's a little taller on this bike. Weight's a little higher. It's got a few pounds more weight, but it also has a lot more low end. I think that's the big difference on this one, is the low end torque. You know, it's got the 2-into-1 pipe. Has a very good sound. I don't think it's louder than the standard Interceptor, but I think it's got more bass. How's that sound? It's all about the bass, right? So having said all that, if y'all are interested in a newer used Royal Enfield Triumph classic British bike of any type, need parts, accessories, thingamajigs, doodads, helmets, jackets, gloves, pants, boots. What am I doing here? Socks and underwear, by golly, anything at all. There's nothing out here. We can just run around in a circle if we want, can't we? Anything at all. Get yourself over to Baxter Cycle in the mighty metropolis of Marnia, Iowa, or go to baxtercycle.com. Tell those fine folks that Fuzzy Biker sent you. Tell them you saw this bear. Hit like and subscribe. It's a beautiful day where I'm at. If it's a beautiful day where you're at, get out and ride, my friends. Life is good. Wahoo!